Yep, we're on.
Righto, it's Tuba here, live from RideADV, Shed Cheers and Beers number 8, isn't it, Howie?
Something like that.
I think it's number 8. So we are, as you can see in the background, we're live here at Gundagai Services Club. Day 3 of the police wall-to-wall ride, which this year has become the Central West ride because we didn't make the dates for the police ride. So this is the punters here on the ride. So tonight we're going to chat with the punters. We've got 1 down, 5 up live. With a studio audience that'll be doing it live. They don't even know we're filming now, do they?
No.
Really? We've got Crash. Crash is going to feature there. Lincoln. Mick down the back. Red Fox, who's just listening to his own voice. Red Fox. Give him a wave. Say hello to the internet, Red Fox. Say hello to the internet. And obviously Wal's joined us, driving the big rig support car.
On the big Ram.
Yeah, the big Ram. Not the RideADV Ram Crash.
No.
We're testing it.
Test drive. Yeah.
So Lincoln's watching the questions tonight, so he'll sing out the questions. As I said, we've got Lust Industries are supporting tonight's 1 hour 5 up, so we'll do that later. And we'll also, during the night, during that 1 hour broadcast, we'll be able to crash the barman.
Not in the bin.
So if you have a question, you can throw your question out the Crash behind the bar. All right. So watch that. Crash and Lincoln.
Yeah.
Behind the bar. So Crash has just found out about that. So
the barman. Crash the barman.
So if you have any questions, fire them off. Obviously we can't do anything technical tonight, so that's throwing us out there. But we do have a lot of punters here to talk to. We've got some newbies here. We've got what's your old mate's name on the BMW on your tyres? What's old mate's name on the BMW got on your tyres? Slippery. What questions you got, mate? Are you refreshed?
Yeah. Hi, that's about it.
Hi. Who said hi?
Chris C.
Chris C. Hi, Chris C. All right, so what we might do is we might pick on... Actually, we might see if we can get... David
Cooley's right there, yep.
So, you know what? So, Pooley, come over here. We're going to interview you live.
Why?
Because we like you. So he's our foreign import. So should we take him to the bar?
Why not? Let's go to the bar. Is there a light switch in there? Let's get him behind the bar.
Just stay this side, mate. Anyway.
There you go.
Over there.
Righto.
So we're going to interview you at the bar.
At the bar.
Crash is going to grab where's your drink?
On my table.
Crash will grab your drink, my drink. So David Poole.
Yes, Chris.
Originally from South Africa.
Right.
And you've been doing the RideADV rides for how long?
I think the first one I did was in 2016.
Okay.
What was the ride? Do you remember?
That was the one, it started in Lithgow.
Lithgow, yeah.
And went out, it was in September, so it wasn't insanely cold.
Nope.
Went out west and then came back to Lithgow.
So it's fair to say, just before we get too far, how much warning did you get about this interview?
0.
Does that way look funny when I ask you?
It looked funny because I don't like this, and I was having dinner, and I'm going to drink.
Do you feel awkward?
Very.
I've gone well, so I'm very happy with how it started. So, what made you, someone that's come from South Africa, raced in South Africa?
Yes.
What made you go and do supported rides? You could go for a ride by yourself, couldn't you?
Yeah, I could. I guess the key thing is why I support it, because shit goes wrong. And being new to the country, I didn't have a close circle of friends, and I wanted to...
Hopefully you can get friends eventually.
No, I've got no friends.
Has any expanded? No?
No, 0.
No. Okay.
Not be no mates. But no, truthfully, it's just easy. You know, the bikes break down, you get hurt, you get injured, and I don't know the depth of the country. You guys have taken us to great places, and that to me is worth the support. But also, when things do go wrong, I want to know that I can get help, and I can get back to where I came from. We all got to go to work on Monday.
So do have to go to work on Monday. So as much as, and we do give you a red hot hard time.
Yes, very much.
You are
so.
one of the favourites of Comedy Rides.
Thank you very much.
So it's been great having you along, and continue to support all our events. Yeah, it's
good. Glad to be here.
But you want to stay in front of the microphone?
No, thank you.
Howard's got a question for you.
I do. I wanted to know, allowing that we had to slab a bit today, we had to redirect a little bit on the route today. That first part going through there, if I was behind you, I have a nickname for you. I call you Elbows.
Oh,
Thank you.
he's always up.
Always up.
ready to go.
Technique superb. Speed good. Carries himself well on the bike. But this morning, how did you find getting out there amongst all those? It was water left, water right, gravel sort of a road, but it was a nice fast open section. Did you and the boys enjoy that?
Oh yeah, it was great. It's good to get off the long stretch of bitumen yesterday. It's good to get back on the dirt this morning when we started.
Absolutely.
A few tricky bits here and there. We saw a lot of skid marks and a few, near
which were
misses, I would
posted
imagine.
well by Crash and myself.
Correct. But yeah, it was great to get on. And unfortunately, conditions changed, and I think everyone appreciates that the option Greg and RideADV took was the right one.
Yeah.
It got us everything safe, and then no one's in hospital. And it's the right way.
So talk about that, Yates. If sometimes we have to make some decisions, or you have to make some decisions, you and
Before we
Crash.
go there, because I'm going to release Pooley, because he's nervous.
I'm twitching here.
He's done well.
Nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, let's be honest. But I want to say, for the elbows up, for the ribbon we're giving, the man presents a perfect bike every time.
Yeah.
And I commend you on that, my friend.
Thanks, mate.
It might be KDM, but it's still a nice bike. It's
a KDM.
It's reliable.
And great to ride with.
It's almost as reliable as a Yamaha, I'll say.
Yeah, well, let's see if I get through the next 2 days.
Let's not do that. Right,
Cheers, guys.
mate,
Thanks,
Cooley.
can you do me a favour?
Yep.
Send over
Can
slippery.
you send over
Marky.
who? Steve Parrish.
You want Steve Parrish?
Thank you. So what was the question?
Yeah, I was just talking about sometimes things have to change because of weather conditions, and sometimes you guys, as business owners, have to make a call on redirection, on safety issues and things like that.
I'll turn you over to Crash.
Yeah, well, it's all about getting everyone home safe and sound, basically. And we want them back again. That's the thing.
Yeah. So
Maybe it's
sometimes
just
we
having
have
a
to change.
customer once, is it?
No, we
The
want to
most
make sure.
important thing is they get home with their bike no matter what. So
Exactly.
everyone wants.
Who we got? Yeah,
So I brought over
special guest, Steve Parrish.
So, Steve, you came to you've been at a few of our rides, you've done all the WR rallies, let's say. You've got a WR 250R.
Yes.
You've got a WR 250F.
Yes.
700 Tenere.
Yes.
And an understanding wife.
She doesn't know about them. Now I'm in trouble, aren't I?
Now she knows.
I buy blue bikes
You buy
so
blue
that
bikes.
she doesn't know the difference.
So you have one bike. Yeah, right.
that's
Sorry
it.
about that, Sharon.
A big shed.
What's your wife's name?
Sharon.
Hey, look away, Sharon. Look away.
Look away.
So, look, you're not a very tall stature. I'm not tall, but you're not a very tall stature. And you came to a 700. You did the 700 rally this year.
Yep.
And you've been very consistent there. But I was surprised today to see you in the, let's call it the Red Hot Racer group up the front when you came into West Moreland.
I stuck to the speed limit the whole way.
No, we're not here to discuss speed limits, but there was some of those sections were pretty tricky, and I got to commend you. Like I'll be honest, I was surprised to see the front when you were there, and held yourself well according to the boys. So what was the go today? Just to encourage you to just felt right.
Just getting more practice on it, I think. I feel comfortable with it. I like it in the twin track. That's where I really like it. And sort of the more technical stuff. I actually do like that.
Yeah, no.
But today there was a few slippery sections, and you can come unstuck. Probably not as slippery as yesterday. There was one
So
particular
just to
section.
cover everyone off, we came out of Golgong on day 2, and the run through the paddocks was. Oh, hang on, now bring it. Who's in there?
Oh, now I'm in trouble. That's
Yeah,
mine.
we go.
Oh, Sharon, check that out. It's not great.
Response lights.
Katie, it's not mine. I sent you a picture of mine. So you won't sleep with that cappuccino either, mate.
No, I can have a cappuccino before I go to bed on fire.
So and so you also own the famous bit of footage jumping over the big puddle on the back of Abercrombie on Licking Hole Fire Trail, and that's okay, kids. That's correct. You jumped up over cleared all the puddle. Yeah.
And I did it last year on the Tenere before I got the suspension done, and I wasn't able to clear it on that.
It's not good.
But maybe this year with the stronger suspension.
And if we were going back through that way, we're not.
Steve's also famous for our little detour on the T7 ride when we got down into that gully and we were stuck there for ages.
Oh, yeah.
And Steve was one of the guys who got on there and got on the saw, worked his ass off with
I got
Abby.
blisters out of that.
Yeah, mate, you were into it. Remember, you were fired up. Come on, guys,
Is it
let's
just
go.
me or
let's
did
make
Bruce
it
to
happen.
have the best hand action? Like,
Oh, look, big right forearm. Big
Builder.
right forearm.
He's a builder.
Builder, that's it.
But they did put the call out, has anyone got a saw? And I said, yep, I brought mine.
That was
I made
it.
sure I'm
That was
prepared.
it.
Where
and
Crash
you
said, yeah, look at my foot.
It's sore.
Yeah. All right, mates. Thanks, Stevie. Thanks for joining us at the bar.
Thanks, mate.
And that was
Go
good.
and enjoy your dessert, brother.
Thanks for getting me on the camera.
Yeah, and 3 bikes, Sharon. So, Crash, what have we got? There's some questions.
Oh, there was just one question for Peter Smarts, who noticed a few of the crew wear the Cleveland Krios, and we also wear the
Yeah, so the 2 helmets, I think the climb helmets, I have an F5, you have an F5. I also have some F3s. The difference between F3 and F5 is the composite makeup. The F5 is significantly lighter. Steve Smith from Adventure Moto was telling me the F5 has the name, and we've always talked about how cold that helmet is in winter and how good it is in summer. The F5 is a hurricane rating, like has that much wind, so that's what he said, which makes sense. The other thing with the F5, and this is Crash's big, I've been wearing a Troy Lee this ride, and it has a lot of airflow in the front, but it also makes the centre very noisy. Where the Climb has a clip-in winter front, and it also has a bar, what do you call it? What's that bar mitzvah hat thing? What do you call it? What's it called? A yurt? No, what's it called? Throw it out to the people. What's the little cap thing? What's the little cap thing? Hey, people, what's the name of the cap they wear to a Jewish cap? What's the name of a Jewish cap?
Anyone know? Anyone
Jewish
know?
cap.
The little cap. What is it?
The red one.
Kippa.
Kipper.
There you go, well done.
Back to it in a minute. So it comes with a
Kippa.
kipper. And so
Not to be mixed up with a fish kipper.
no. So yeah, that's
Yeah, that one of the questions was, how do the comms work with them?
so the comms work in the F5 is really good. The comms work okay in the Troy Lee if I keep down below the wind line. If I stand up, it's fine, but in any broken, turbulent air, it's shocking.
So, Greg, if you had a extended windscreen, you would have no problem, my friend.
And I just hear voices. And the other one is the Krios Pro.
With the screen on
Yeah, that's the Krios Pro. Yeah, the Krios Pro, not only is it quiet, it's light, it vents well, it has great vision. If I was going to, because no cash for comments, I was going to say if there's one thing I could pick with the Krios Pro, most helmets with a visor have a 1/4-8 gap. The Krios doesn't have that. And that's something that lets the Krios down.
I don't find that a problem with mine.
Well, that's what
That's what you prefer, yeah.
But the Krios Pro, owning Arroy and Shoe Hornets, and the Krios shits all over them.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Just that one little thing.
Yeah, and it's light.
I think that's pretty good. The question just come in was in the difference in the noise level of the F5 and the Krios Pro.
Oh, you can't compare it. One's a motocross helmet, one's a screen helmet. You can't compare it. The screen helmet's very quiet. The F5, I don't know. I wear a lot of open helmets nowadays. I don't wear my Krios a lot. The trouble with and I say this to the crew, the trouble with a visored helmet on any ride where you're riding with other people, if you're behind, the dust comes up underneath and it gets in your eyes. And at the end of the day, it looks like you had 30 cones. Not that I know what that's like, but so.
Brewster says, g'day, miss you boys.
We miss you too, Mad Rooter.
Thanks for lending me your
Dave
bike, Rooter.
O
It's
says,
going
why
good.
do you run goggles over the visor?
Yeah, some of the guys with the helmets run a set of goggles, so that's just the dusting I was talking about, Dave. So it comes up under the helmet, so if you can flip your visor up, and a Krios works really well. And I actually ask other people what they've got as far as helmets go. Hey, who wears a visored helmet? Who wears a visored helmet and wears goggles with it as well?
Right.
Okay, let's pick Dennis Lawson. Come up here, Dennis Lawson. Up to the bar, please. Bring your beer. Who else? Gav. You've got
Gav.
right. Come bring your drink. Gav, come to the bar. Alright guys, so you're joining us here at Shed Cheers and Beers Live. Gavin, you've been on a lot of our rides for years, and Dennis, you've done the plenty of these rides, mate, haven't you?
Three of these and another one.
There you go. Stand up. This guy's a big Just saying.
I'll get a little step.
So what sort of helmet do you wear?
So an O'Neill.
It's an O'Neill, and you can get your goggles in with your visor up fine.
Yeah.
Yep,
Absolutely.
And this question came up. One of the guys asked, "Why do you wear goggles with a screen helmet?"
Because you don't get the dust. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. And you find the O'Neill works fine with it?
Perfect. Yeah.
Beautiful. You were an Arrow.
Arrow XT4.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Say hello to your mum.
No, I like it, especially in the mornings when it's a bit cold and stuff, because it just gives you that extra bit of protection. Or when it's raining. The only challenge I have is getting these under the goggles, because if you put them under the goggles and they're not in the goggles, when you pull the visor down, it squashes these against your nose. So you just got to get them in, but it works really well.
Because you've got a beautiful face, let's be honest.
Oh, thanks, mate. And a beautiful hair.
You do, the same barber. So those of us with goggles, now, have you ever considered there's a guy called Mr. Goggle, I think, that makes a prescription goggle? Yep. You ever thought about that?
Someone told me about that on the trip, and I think it's something I will look into, because it is painful getting
Bruce Wern had them. He had them, and we did the ride to Fink, and he said they were fantastic.
Rooster has glasses all the time, as you know, 4 eyes. But he wears contacts when he's riding. Now I know Nick Dole tried the same thing. Dust became a bit of an issue if you can't keep the dust out.
Yeah, I wore contacts for about 25 years, and then eventually my eyes started projecting them, so I've got to stay away from contacts.
So you put them in, they just throws them out, does it?
Yeah, so it just goes
Reject.
Yeah.
So Gav, you've done a few rides over the years. You actually, let's be honest, people, if you were on the Epic Outback, Gav won Joker of the, not a Joker as a joker, but tell a joke.
He'd have a clean joke.
You got a clean joke for the...
He's under
Okay, you know what?
I won't pull one out, no.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you 5 minutes and then we're coming over to you need a joke. So you need to work on that.
Have a think about it.
I said you go red. Oh my God.
Under pressure.
And you rode the big bike.
So anyway, the guy goes to the doctor because he's a bit worried, because he's a bit under-endowed. And he says to the doctor, there's something you can do about it. He goes, yeah, sure, go look in the top drawer and there's some appendages we can attach. He looks through them and he goes, geez, I'm not going to go through a whole operation for that. Try the next drawer. Try the bottom drawer. Whoa, that's seriously impressive. I'll go for that one. So the doctor says, look, I've got to warn you of one thing. He goes, you got to understand that's the end of an elephant's trunk. He goes, but don't worry, we'll connect up all the nerves, the blood supply will work 100%. Gets it all done, heals up, goes to the first dinner where he's about to introduce this to his wife. They're sitting in the restaurant and the waiter brings the bread rolls. He feels this pressure in his flyer. Next thing, this thing appears and grabs the bread roll and disappears. His wife looks across, she goes, darling, that's really impressive. Could you do it again? He goes, I would if I could, but I can't fit another bread roll up my ass.
Yeah, very nice.
And listen,
very
while we're
nice.
here, so today we got forced by rain to come in this way. You came in somewhere, Stockinbingal. Did you hear about Stockinbingal? So we came, little town, Stockinbingal.
Yeah.
You came through that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I did.
Crash and I, we stopped at Stockinbingal and we met the guy that runs the museum there today. Yeah, and we said to him, like, we were chatting to him for a bit, and we said, how did Stockinbingal get its name? And it was 1893 or something. Yeah, there was a drover bringing in a whole heap of cattle in from the north, and a drover bringing a whole heap of cattle in from the south, and they collided, and hence it's been called Stockinbingal, which really, what did you say?
Yeah, they obviously didn't use their horns.
They obviously didn't use their horns. But honestly, there was a lot at stake. So.
Yeah, he's my grandson.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
All right. Yeah. We got any more questions? Thanks, guys.
No,
Thanks.
Thank you, fellas.
Thanks.
Thanks, fellas. Cheers.
What do we got? Stefan. You know Stefan, he's been at some rides.
Yep.
Is it true that T7 is more fun off-road than the WRR with the experience? He's contemplating the weight of the change-up.
Oh, there's a
What's
good
your
question.
opinion to start with, Crash?
What do I think? T7's a very comfortable bike. It just does everything beautifully. It's the weight of it. I don't think it's noticeable really. They steer well. They just the motor's
Good
just so
all-rounder.
smooth on it. Yep. Just you tune the suspension to suit yourself, your weight.
The Leatherman's the WR of the bikes, but the T7 just opens up other doors, doesn't it, in terms of what you can do? And as you said, very comfortable on the long hauls.
That's it.
On the straights, on the long ones, you can stretch her out a little bit more. But it's a fair question. The right answer is have both, isn't it? That's the right answer.
If you can have both.
If you can.
What was the? Let's say Billy's just joined us here at the bar. So Billy, you want to give Billy the question? Because Billy owns both.
Is it true that T7's more fun off-road than a WRR with experience? Contemplating weight of the change-up.
I think it depends on the trails.
Yeah.
So There's nothing like riding a small bike as fast as it goes. That's just ultimate fun. Like, you can't beat riding one of those WRs just flat out everywhere, hitting whatever you can. But the T7s, they're fun. They're fun as well. It's hard.
So I've got another way to add that, having still got both. I like the big bike. I like the commitment the big bike takes. When you get it right, I love the commitment of when you get the big bike right. When you get it set up right, they steer. They really steer. But the challenge of the big bike, knowing the back of your mind, if you get it wrong. So the WR, when you overcommit the WR to a corner, you just bounce it off something.
You can save it.
Hold on. When you overcommit the Tenere,
I think the other problem with the Tenere is you're doing 20 or 30k an hour faster.
Yeah.
So it won't hurt because you won't be awake for it to hurt.
You're stopping 60 to 70 kilos more.
Yeah. And faster.
Yeah. But the 700, when you get, it's like the 1200s crash. When we rode the 1200s, we did stuff for the 1200s, I love the fact when someone looks behind and goes, "What's that doing here?" That I like that too. But
they stop.
Yeah.
They stop really, really well. That 1200, the same thing. They just they'll lift the back wheel on the thing.
On the if you got it straight.
I think the biggest thing is you got to commit with the 700.
Yeah, you have to have commitment.
The 250, if you're not confident and you make a mistake, you can save it quite easily.
Yeah.
With the 700, you've got to commit.
Takes a little more finesse.
You've got to trust it.
You've got to trust yourself.
The trust is the biggest thing.
But it does deliver on response though pretty well. Yeah.
I've got a question from Carl about suspension. Ignoring the cost, is the Olin's RFX 48mm complete 4 kit worth the cost for the T7?
Is a Formula 1 car better than a Toyota Corolla worth the cost? Ignore the cost. Of course it is. But I had this conversation, I'm not going to tell my business partner here, but I had this conversation last week with Nick Dole. Do I shell out and buy one for testing? $6,000 or something, I think, with the triple clamps, the whole lot. Sure, it's better. And you know what, I can give you an adult version of going on a date too that's better, but no. You've got the Olin, you've had the Olin's front and rear. You're riding the latest technique, but you also rode the Andriani, you rode the TFX.
Had to go with the Olins.
Had to go with the Olins. I'm going to go back on record and say, you've got the full Technic package now. I like the Technic package. Sure, occasionally I'll scrub it out of a jump because I'm hitting it hard. But I need to ride it, sometimes I need to ride it 14 hours. And it doesn't wear you out, does it?
No, that's good.
And you're testing some stuff at the moment on a totally different bike that we haven't shown on this ride yet. So on a totally different suspension tuner, and it doesn't blow through the stroke, does it? But it's hard. Yeah, you got to ride it hard.
It'll fatigue you if you're riding hard a days at a time. It'll bash you up for sure. You like riding next
Yeah.
So Billy,
it's like the all-day setup versus going out in zero for the morning setup. Like that's perfect if you're going out pushing hard, getting there, put the signs up. But if you want to ride all day mid-pack or sweep or just enjoy yourself, it's a trade-off.
So years ago we started developing WRs, and Nick Dole, who was watching, he'll tell you the conversation. I rang him day three the bridge to bridge and said, we've effed up. I'll tell you, we're fucked up. Because we'd set those bikes up. Lefty and I were zeroing every day, and we were zeroing at 1,000. Right? As hard as you go on lefty, watching this, I'll tell you. Then all of a sudden we did bridge to bridge. By day 3 of even zeroing on mid-pack, it was terrible to ride. Unless you rode like a GNCC, it was no good. And that's what I mentioned bikes are. And I said to Nick, we've gone the wrong way with these bikes.
Right. So that was part of the development phase.
And I think, to be fair, because the tuner that's done the bike that you're testing hasn't got the development of 12 months and 11 riders, then he's at the stage back at the start.
Yeah.
You've got 210 mil to work with. We all want it plush at the start, but we don't want it forward to the stroke.
Cool. So, mate, tell us, Billy, have you had to do any work for any